How's it going, everybody? Hey, Scotty, how's it going? So you're going to be playing FF7 Rebirth? Nice. Hey, Metal Spring, what's up? First? Nope, someone else beat me. Yes, sir. Scotty beat you. Well, welcome, everybody, to our Thursday night build stream. I was supposed to be getting started on the stream around 7:30 p.m., but that did not happen. I had a bunch of orders come in, or parts come in for orders. I had to process those parts to their respected builds, and then we found out we had a bunch of misorders or parts that showed up that were the wrong parts, so we had to go back and forth and get those dealt with, as well as I had a couple of support calls, which tied up my evening. So now here we are at almost 10 o'clock, finally starting the stream. But I do need to get these builds done because I have a plethora of builds this week, and I'm now falling behind. So here we are, 10 p.m., building 2 PCs, because this is the only time now to build during the day. I could actually do it earlier in the morning, because it's usually pretty quiet in the morning, but you don't get a lot of people at watch, or most people are at work or at school, so they wouldn't be able to see or watch live, which is, so I always try to like do it around 7 p.m. or start around 7 p.m. because that's usually when most people can watch something or watch their PC being built live. And sometimes the schedule just kind of gets screwed up to the point where it's just going to happen later. So I apologize ahead of time that we're starting late. Because I know this one that we're doing is for Caden. And Caden is still in school, so he probably has a school night bedtime. I apologize, Caden. I did think of that. Let me see if he actually texted me. Yes, we're just starting very late. I apologize. So I just wanted to make sure I texted. I also got a phone call. I don't know who that is. A couple of phone calls. Missed. Alright, anyway, let's go ahead and dive into the build, shall we? A wizard is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to. Thank you. Thank you, Metal. I appreciate that more than you know. Let's go ahead and switch to the top-down view. We're going to look at our build out for tonight. For the first build. Build 1 of 2. So we're going to try to do 2 builds tonight, depending on how late it gets. This one shouldn't be too crazy. But let's rip it off. We're going to start off with the CPU, which is the Intel Core i7-12700K. Right here. This beast has 12 cores, 20 threads, and a maximum turbo speed of 5 gigahertz. So, Caden, there's your new CPU right there. And if you're not able to watch tonight, you could definitely jump in and watch on YouTube anytime. Hey, what's up, Dadbods? What's up, man? Welcome to the late night Thursday build show, because I apparently can't start on time. I struggled today to get here. So, we're starting off with the CPU, which is the i7-12700K. We're going to be putting this on a MSI Z690A Pro Series MSI motherboard. We're also going to be using the Thermalright LGA 1700 contact frame, as well as Thermalright TF7 thermal paste, which is going to come from this kit from the Frozen Note by Thermalright. We have 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM. It's actually 2 16 gig kits that we're going to be using today. And this is DDR4 3200 megahertz CL16. So that's 4 8 gig sticks. And this is G.Skill Ripjaws 5. You're building along with me? Nice! Well, let's see who can get done first. Hey, thanks, Carol, over at the Facebook page. Thanks, Grandma, for the like. We have a 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD. This is an MP44L by Team Group. It was supposed to be a Silicon Power SSD, but we could actually get faster speeds on this one for the same price, so I ended up swapping it out for that one when I ordered the parts. The case that we're going to be putting this in is the Montech Sky 2 in white. So if you're familiar with the Sky 2, we could definitely... Hey, what's up, some giant idiot? Welcome back, sir. You're familiar with the Sky 2. This one's going to be in white, as you can see with the AIO cooler being white, kind of the theme, at least. And then the NVIDIA RTX 3060 graphics card, which is 12 gigs, GDDR6 192-bit or 192-bit. PCIe 4.0 for this, and this is the MSI Ventus 2X. So it's 2 fans, a little bit wider card. Overall, just a great card to start out with for what Caden's going to be doing with this machine. He's planning on gaming and streaming on it. And we got all of this in. You know, with streaming, we want to obviously go with a bigger or beefier CPU if we can. And then you obviously want at least 32 gigs of RAM if you're streaming, and then a snappy SSD with a graphics card that can handle the streaming and gaming at the same time, which is more so the NVIDIA card that has NVENC encoder on it. So generally with streaming, you want to use NVIDIA. And really anything above the GTX 1660 will have that encoder. But this is a great card because it'll give him a little bit of performance for his games, while also giving them the ability to stream. We're going to be using a 750 watt power supply tonight. This one's at 80 plus bronze. And yeah, there's really not much else here. Let's go ahead and get started with the build. Good evening, some giant idiot. How are we doing? Sir, how are we doing? It's been a while. I feel like it's been a while. Maybe it hasn't been a while. Alright, Dad Bods, if you're actually building with me, do you want to race? How far are you? Where are you at with your build? You already open up the motherboard box and start? Hey, good evening, Army Vet. What's up? Welcome to the late night build stream. We got started a little late tonight. Later than we wanted, but we're here. And that's what counts, I hope. It will be... Dadbot says I'm gonna win. I don't know about that. It depends on how far along you are. Alright, so we're gonna pull out the motherboard here, and we're gonna get started there. So first off, we want to drop the CPU into the socket to protect these pins while we swap out the LGA 1700 contact frame from the stock brackets. You're running cables and you think I'm still gonna beat you? I don't think so. It sounds like you're almost done. We're dropping the CPU into the socket as we speak. Here we go. Excuse me. Now we're going to swap out this LGA 1700 contact frame for this guy. I can just get a little zoom here. Let's zoom right in. This is my first build, so I'm going nice and easy. Got it. No, it's good. Good. Build at your own pace. I'm not trying to rush you or race you. I'm trying to race you now. All right, so we're going to remove these quick. And we drop the Thermalright LGA 1700 contact frame over the CPU. And this wrench will be included with the hardware of the PC. So if he ever needs to remove this to upgrade the CPU, he would be able to do that. Because it is a unique driver. All right. LGA 1700 contact frame with the CPU has been installed, so we're going to move on to installing all 4 sticks of RAM, which is a total of 32 gigs here. Let's go ahead and drop this in. And then next up, we have our 1TB M.2 NVMe SSD, which is by Team Group. This is the MP44L. It's PCIe Gen 4. NVMe 1.4 with some pretty wicked speeds. How tight did I screw that on? You go pretty tight on those, but Gamers Nexus actually has a really good video on how tight you should make it, or your tension. They kind of did a couple of different tests to see if it impacts it, but they have a pretty good video that kind of explains how to do it in more detail. But really, I just go until it's pretty much snug tight. And I'm counting my turns as I go around each screw. And that's really the key, is to make sure it's even across, or as even as possible. There we are. SSD is installed. Now we're going to move on and grab the hardware for the cooler. And we're going to get the hardware mount brackets on the board here. And then we will be moving on to dropping this in the case. Catching up with you, Dad Bods? Blah. Red G's screw with confidence. Yes. But not too much confidence. Just enough so that you know it's on there. I don't know. There's really not a good way to describe the tension unless you're actually trying to measure it. But it's really about counting how many times you spin the driver. That's the important piece, to make sure it's balanced. So it's really not the tension, but how even it is being forced down with the tension. So that's really the key. But I go until it's tight. So pretty tight. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and go, ugh, you know, that one last crank on it. But it's pretty tight. No, that's what she said jokes here, huh? What build is this one? This one is for Caden. Build number 1 for the evening. We're going to be doing 2 builds tonight. Blacko, are you waiting for a build tonight? Did I tell you I was building yours? A build for somebody you know? But the builds will show at the top of the screen here who it's for and which number it is. We're building number 1 of 2. Nice, yes. I put my order in for the wife. Oh, nice. Is that from Florida? Gotcha. Yep, the actually most of the parts actually just arrived today. We are lucky with the schedule. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 builds ahead of you, including one of them tonight. So that's 3 builds ahead of you tonight, before we could do yours. So you're 3 builds out. I can't do it by time anymore. It's by builds. No worries. Awesome. So we'll get to your build here probably within the next couple of days. I do need to actually rotate these fans really quick. We can probably zoom out here so we're not as zoomed in. I do know we need to rotate these fans. Like always. Buying Dad Bod some more time. And then we could get the case out. We got that done. Kind of did that out of order, but it was there in front of my face, and I was like, we'll get it done. Why not? Oh God, that was loud. All right, we're ready to drop the motherboard in here already, right? Yeah. Go ahead and throw that in there. Need this guy. Always remember your I/O shield before you put your motherboard in. Most motherboards have these on the board now. A few that still come with them. Total of 9 screws here to secure the board to the case. All right, before we put the cooler in, I am going to throw the power supply in here just to make sure we can get our EPS cables in. And this is a semi-modular power supply, so we do have to put the entire power supply in. Because I believe the CPU is part of the power supply. We're just going to really quick do that. And then we'll mount the cooler. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. By the way, my kid says I sound like a boomer when I use that phrase, so now I use it more. Just attaching the modular cables because this is a semi-modular power supply. Then once we have it orientated the right way, we'll slide it in here. Use the 4 screws to mount it. There we are. We're secured. Now we just need our EPS cables up to the top, and we can move on with getting this cooler installed. All right. Get this cooler installed. Alright, there we go. Cooler mounted. Yay. Alright, so now we're going to move on to getting the block mounted to the CPU. Warning, please remove. Always make sure you remove these things. They wreak havoc. Dadbods, did you forget to remove this from the bottom of your cooler? Make him second guess. Did I? Try to buy some time, you know? Make him go look. Crap. I peeled all the plastics. But did you peel the one that goes over the CPU? Oh my gosh, that didn't just happen. I knew something was up with this thing, but I cannot believe what just happened. What's the best way to describe this? Hello, camera. I don't know why it's not focusing. Focus, sir. Okay, it refuses to focus. So I'll just put it here. And we'll zoom in there. I don't know why my camera is not doing that. Hey, what's up? There we go. Now it focused. But this is the stud from this bracket. So now I gotta take this whole thing off and replace that. It is probably the most retarded thing I've had happen to me in a while. I was just screwing it in like normal and it broke. So here we are. Redoing that. Why not? You know? I'm also gonna need another one of these. Unless I can get this one out. Yeah, right. Really good thing I have piles of mounting hardware here for Thermalright. We would have been fucked. I'll show you guys what happened. I gotta pry this thing off. It's stuck on there. So you see how this stud right here is missing? By my thumb? It's just straight up gone. It broke right off. Never had that happen. That's the first one from Thermalright. So no, it's not a common thing. Must have been a weakness in that metal molding. But if it was anybody else that received that, it would have sucked because they wouldn't have another mounting bracket from Thermalright because I have hundreds of them. But if it was anybody else, they wouldn't have this, and therefore they'd be screwed. thermal spatula. Might just repaste this. Yeah, dang. Like, what is up with that? I didn't like reef on it. It was tight, but not that tight. I'm just glad I didn't, leave it where it was at and then it eventually break on them while it was in service. Hey, how's it going, buddy? What's up, Tankus Rick? How's it going, sir? Your system will be picked up by UPS tomorrow, sir. And it'll be on its way. Finally. I've actually already got it all packaged up, ready to go. Just waiting for UPS tomorrow. There we go. Yeah, I can't believe that broke. I'm gonna save that. Take a picture of it. It was worth it. But again, it's a good thing that I had the extra brackets. Hell yeah, great news. It's 3 to 5 business days. Yeah, it should take about 3 to 5. Sometimes it's quicker though. So, just playing a bit of Red Dead 2 before bed on your snail. And Red Dead's gonna look like a whole nother game on the new system. I'm so excited for you, sir. Alright, now we're just sliding the pump from here because this is an inline pump, so the pump's over here in the lines. Inline pump is in the lines. So we've got our pump cable here, which we ran through the back and then back through the front, and we're going to be plugging it into the pump header, which is here, conveniently located at the top, where most pumps would be located generally. Then we have this one RGB cable from one of the fans that just keeps wanting to poke out, like, hey, I want to hang out in the front. Right on. Just didn't know if I should count the weekend. As long as it's gone through, with UPS, basically, as long as it's made it through its initial, made it to its truck for its, you know, long haul, it will actually make travel over the weekend. But if it, for example, if you drop off a package Friday evening to like UPS, their UPS store, it's not going to move until Monday, especially if it's ground, because ground has pretty much stopped. They do work on Saturdays. So as long as UPS picks up this package, it's pretty much going to go straight from that truck to the next truck that's going to leave the state. So in other words, honestly, it should be like Tuesday, Wednesday, but I'll have the tracking information over to you before this night is out or through. Before I leave for the day, you are going to have your tracking info in your email, and that will show you the estimated delivery. Good shit. Hope they make it good time. Yeah, they're usually pretty good. I know, I just bought God of War, and I'm waiting to launch for the first time with the Empowered rig. Don't say Empowered. This is not Empowered. Empowered is actually another brand. That's why I say that. It's Empower gaming computers. The only reason why I say that is because there's another brand called Empowered PC. And those guys came after my name. And I'm not going to go too far into it, but it is starting to become a problem. Because I actually get a lot of their support calls. Then I have to sit there and explain to them, Empower Gaming Computers is not the same company as Empowered PC. In fact, Empowered PC is just a series that a company named Computer Upgrade King created. And I get a lot of their support calls. Oh, well, my bad. No worries. I'm just... It's a sore topic. So anyway, here we are. Two companies very close to the same name. Of course, one's better than the other. More custom. What they do is mostly build just volume rigs, and they sell on Amazon. That is primarily what they do. And you don't know how many calls I get every single day about the there's a specific build that is very popular. They always, hey, I bought this from Empowered PC from Amazon, and I'm like, yeah, it's not the right company, dude. You got to call these guys. And then sometimes they're calling me on the weekend, you know, after hours when I know Computer Upgrade King, because they're 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. They don't even work on the weekends. But I've had people calling me on the weekend, very frustrated, and I actually just walked them through it as if I was Empowered PC. Like, they received their PC, but something wasn't seated right, and I was like, ugh. I just need to start billing those guys. Like, hey, you know, here's a bunch of hours that I helped your customers with, and here's my bill. I don't know, maybe that's the right thing to do. I was also very upset when I found out that they did that, and I bought the Empowered PC domain and held it hostage for 2.5 years until it expired. And then I let it go. You know. So that's how sour I was with them starting that brand. Right when I started my brand, I was a little sour. Not gonna lie. But maybe you've noticed, or somebody else has, monthly invoice to them. Yeah, I should. Because, I mean, their customers call me as if I'm their support. They think I'm Empowered PC. I don't know what to say. Alright, so we're going to install this bottom fan here. Yeah, it's just been a ongoing problem that continues to grow. I guess I needed to think about that when I first started the brand, and then held everything that said with the word empower and PC and gaming, and said, dang, that's a lot of money involved just to do that. I honestly didn't think anybody would even come close to this name. Empower gaming computers? Like, who would use that? You like how the tower PC is going? Nice. Yeah, it's coming along pretty nicely here. Except for the fact that we broke that bracket. But yeah, it's coming along very nicely. Just need to get some of these internal connections done. There. We have our case connections, fans, and RGB. Let's bring the mic over here so we can actually hear what we're talking about. But we have PWM connections and our case connections. Those all have to get plugged in here now. Like our front panel power button, etc. Gotta get all those done. So that's where we're at. Come on, you wee little bugger. Do 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 do. What else we got here? Front panel connector and addressable RGB. Yep. And then a PWM connection for the hub. We're probably going to send 3 and 2. Yeah, we'll probably just run it back up this way. Ironically. Well, it helped me find my way over here. Oh yeah, that's right. Completely forgot that's how. I actually get a lot of people that buy empowered PCs, return them, and then I've had people buy PCs from me after they've spoke to me because they were having problems with it. So once I'm discovered, it apparently helps. There we go. Got those done. That one's going to be tricky. I already installed the fan like a dum-dum. I'm actually going to stand it up for this. There we go. Got all that in there. Really, I guess the only thing left is GPU and some cable management on the backside, and we're ready to fire this bad boy up and see what it looks like. Hey, DadBot, where are you at? You ready to power yours up yet? You falling behind? You keep it up? Did I gain on you? For those of you who don't know, DadBods was building a PC alongside of me. Not on stream, but meticulously running cables. Oh man. Oh man. Am I gaining on you? All right, so this is an RTX 3060 that we're putting in here. A great card to start out with. And eventually upgrade from later down the road. It's got a decent enough power supply in here so you can do some upgrades. And a well enough CPU, a really good CPU. So he can definitely upgrade to some bigger cards if he wants later down the road. This is a great card to start out with. All right, I'm going to connect these to the hub so that they're powered externally, not through the board. And therefore, if we ever have an RGB problem, it won't be because the board burnt out. It's definitely been a learning experience. Yes, sir. How many times did you say, I should have just had Ben do this? Or where's Ben? Or help me, Ben in power. You're my only hope. You haven't called me, so that's a good sign. All right. The last little bits are coming together. And graphics card power. Hello, Mr. Anderson. What's going on, sir? William R. Computer Shop found the contact plate on the AIO be warped, not fully contacted with the CPU. Also, settings were set to unlimited on the CPU. It cost me nearly $300 out of my pocket. Hold on. Let me scroll up because I missed half this conversation. William R. I bought one of the Empowered Computer Upgrade Kings rigs from Amazon, the Sentinel. It's not one of our PCs. Equipped with the 4090 and an i9-13900KF. While gaming, it would black screen with the red CPU light up on it. You actually, Dadbots, I actually discovered you within the initial thoughts of having you do it. Gotcha. Then decided I wanted to learn. No, that's totally cool, man. I'm glad you built up the courage and the knowledge to do it yourself, sir. The motherboard, I had to leave it alone for a half hour before it would get let me reboot it. I spent at least a month going back and forth with the techs at CUK and decided to send it to a local computer shop. They found the contact plate on the AIO to be warped and not fully contact with the CPU. Also, the settings were set to unlimited on the CPU. That is kind of weird how the settings were set to unlimited. Not gonna lie, that is strange. Let's see. I think this message came in like different chunks or something. Something's going on here. Also, the settings were set to unlimited on the CPU. It cost me nearly $300 out of my pocket. Oh, that sucks, man. To get that resolved, it would have cost me over $500 to ship it back to CUK if I went that route. Wow, they're gonna charge you to ship it back, even though it's something on their end. It was, you know, it's a flaw in the build. To get it resolved, would have been $500 to ship back. That's just crazy. Hello, Mr. Anderson. Welcome, sir. Steve. Unlimited, it must have gotten hot. Yeah, it probably got hot. And then, you know, it's not making complete contact. So it couldn't even cool it. That's crazy. I get a lot of their support calls. Because people think I'm Empowered PC. But I'm not. I'm a different company. Totally different. But everybody witnessed it here. I use contact frames by Thermalright. Everybody knows that if they watch my streams. For LGA 1700, I use the contact frames. That helps with that contact. But additionally, if there's a flaw in one of the mounting brackets, I don't know why my camera is all of a sudden being derpy. It's not crystal clear. But if there's a flaw with any of the parts, I'm not going to put it in there and ship it to you. We're going to correct that problem and get it solved so that it's perfect when it leaves. And really, the only opportunity it has to get damaged is during shipping. And that's if UPS uses it as a football and punts it to your doorstep. So, but I mean, it'll be insured, and we'll get that straightened out too. If you had to choose between aesthetics for a PC, pure performance, no RGB, which would you pick? I would pick 100% performance first. And every build I do, you know, most RGB nowadays, you can bake it into the case. For example, this case included 4 addressable RGB fans with it for a very reasonable price. So, and then the cooler itself, if you could bake it into the cooler, this cooler actually is very good price. Is a very good price compared to some other coolers without RGB. So you could really work with the RGB and get it worked in there. But performance is always first when I'm building. So if I can eliminate, let's say instead of buying, just as an example, instead of buying your what's a really good example? Trident Z Royal RAM, which is super flashy and fancy RAM, by the way. Some of the most stylish RAM there is out there that you could buy with RGB lights on it. That looks like crystal magic. You, instead of buying that, you could take the extra $40 to $50 and maybe go from a Ryzen, for just as an example, it doesn't have to be Ryzen, or it could be Intel, but you could go from a Ryzen 5 and actually get to a Ryzen 7 with that $40. So that could be a big difference in overall performance. But yes, performance is always first. And that's why you see me use RAM. You know, just this build is actually a good example of that. This is G.Skill Ripjaws 5. It's nice RAM. It's not bad. It's actually very good RAM. It just doesn't have the flashy RGB on it. But that's because I took everything I could in this budget for this build and put it into the CPU, the motherboard, to make sure that he had a successful upgrade path later. The graphics card's an RTX 3060. The CPU is an Intel i7 12700, but it's on a Z790 motherboard, which gives him a humongous, just a whole bunch of different routes he could take to upgrade this. And then the RAM, we've got 32 gigs G.Skill Ripjaws, 3200 megahertz DDR4. So this is DDR4, but we got him in a platform that's going to be around for a while. That was the whole idea. And aesthetically, it's pretty good looking for, you know, what we spent. It's a pretty dang good looking PC. I think we're at $1,200 total for this. Somewhere in that neighborhood or that ballpark. Yeah, it's pretty good. UPS uses 800 plus items for rugby. Yes, they do. They do. I have had several packages damaged by UPS. I mean, it happens. Basically, my UPS contact, and I've said this before, they said if your package must survive a 6-foot fall. So anticipate your package to fall 6 feet. And that is what it has to survive. That is what they told me. So as long as you internally package with foam and whatnot, and then you double box the PC with external packaging on the between the first box and the second box, another layer of foam or some sort of packaging. You're almost guaranteed every time. If something's damaged, it's 100% UPS's fault, and they will pay up for it. So, you know. I'm cooling with air, a Thermalright big ass cooler. Nice. Yes, Thermalright is a absolute boss, in my opinion, when it comes to cooling performance per dollar. I guess is the mathematical metric that we can think of. Have 32 gig Corsair CL30, nice, 6,000 megahertz for the new motherboard, but it says XMP, not Expo. Oh no. You might want to double check that if you have an AMD, if you're going, you know, with an AMD 600 series board for DDR5. I almost always recommend make sure it's an AMD Expo kit. But you can go to the manufacturer's website from the motherboard and double check to see if that RAM kit that you have is going to work or is compatible, tested, or verified by the motherboard manufacturer. So you'd have to go to the motherboard manufacturer's website, go to your model, go to the RAM and CPU compatibility list, and find your kit that you purchased and see if it's on that list. If it's not on that list, then the answer is no, it will not work properly. Most likely it'll post, but it is probably not going to run at 6,000 megahertz properly. So generally, with AMD, 100% do not buy an Intel XMP kit. Buy an AMD Expo certified kit. They are two different things. I see that a lot. I actually did a video on YouTube about that. Alright guys, now that we've gotten this all straightened out and ready to go, we could probably fire this bad boy up. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for this? Just trying to get some of this crap cleaned up here so I can actually fire it up. Yeah, we should probably put the back and the lid for top on it. All right. Let's get a side view of this and check it out. It says XMP on the box, but looking up the item code on Gigabyte motherboard support and Corsair site, it says XMP. I'm confused. It says XMP on the box. Oh, it says Expo. Which one says Expo? Gigabyte or the box? Guess I'm slightly confused there. Alright, who's ready to see this thing fired up for the first time? Let's do this. Punch it. says supported on the motherboard, and looking up the part code of the RAM on Corsair site, it says Expo. So then yes, it would be supported. So as long as the website says it's supported, should be good to go. But weird that it says Intel XMP. Maybe they finally got the two working together. My advice has always been AMD Expo for AMD and Intel XMP for Intel. That's only for DDR5. All right, we got a good post. Maybe it was no, it's probably over the course of time, DDR5 is going to mature, probably where DDR5, Intel XMP, and AMD Expo are going to work vice versa. So AMD Expo is going to work in Intel XMP, and Intel XMP is going to work with AMD Expo, because it's going to reduce the amount of confusion, returns, cost. Everything is going to flow better. Because I'm sure lots of people make that mistake. And they probably had tons of returns because of it. So it could be that DDR5 is just finally on that stage of maturing. And, you know, Intel XMP is now capable of running on AMD Expo properly. And that would be through BIOS updates. So I would definitely make sure to update your BIOS. And that being like one of the first things you do. Is this the 12 gig 3060 or the 8 gig? This is the 12 gig version, sir. I will never, ever, ever, ever purchase a RTX 3060 8 gig version. If I do, I will place it directly in the trash can. Because that was one of the dumbest things NVIDIA could have ever made. Here's a dumber version of the card. A dumb version of the card. It's like, okay, why didn't you just stick with the RTX 3050? Because that's basically what it is. Because it's not only reduced RAM, they also took cores and clock speeds away from it as well. But it's almost the same price as a 3060 12 gig, which is retarded. They should have made the 3060 8 gig and the TI 12 gig. Yeah, but they did the RTX 30 Ti for 8 gig, which is even more confusing. The RTX 3060 Ti is 8 gigabytes. But I keep asking South Park when they're going to make an episode of NVIDIA and their naming scheme. South Park, NVIDIA, naming scheme episode. Every nerd on this planet would die laughing. So instead of making, let's make our products very confusing. We'll make the 3070 Super, but then we're gonna make a 4070 Super. I said 3070. I'm stupid. 4070 Super. But wait, let's make a better one by making a 4070 Ti Super. So now we have the 4070 Ti Super Super Ti Super. Why didn't they just stick with 4070, 4070 Super, and then maybe just kept the 4070 Ti? Whatever. I don't know. I need to understand the decision making behind all that, and I don't think I ever will. Now we'll make the 4090 have 8 gig VRAM, 4080 12 gig, 4070 16, 4060 24. Exactly. It's backwards. Charge 25 extra. Yeah, just charge 25 extra. I mean, you guys saw my... This is how NVIDIA upgrades their cards. They just slap Super on it. No, this is not an actual RTX 4080. It's a joke card that I use for people. But I just changed the name just like NVIDIA does. Slap a new sticker on it. Money! Exactly, Steve. Exactly. Money! Charge an extra 25 and 5 cents. With the new sticker, because they got to cover the sticker costs, yeah. Because there's no way in hell they're going to lose money on it. Profits to the moon. Hey, 39 minutes ago, Seals Your Fate followed us on Twitch. I appreciate you, sir. Sorry I was late to that notification. Devin. Davin Spencer. Oh, Davin. Over on Facebook. He liked us as well. Thank you, sir. The 4080 Supers are being scalped on Amazon. Yes, I know. It's been a big pain in the butt to get a 4080 Super, and it's also been a big pain in the butt to get a 4070 Ti Super. Is it a 4070 Super Ti, or... I think they should have actually called it a 4070 Super Ti, because it sounds better, instead of a 4070 Ti Super. It's a Super Ti. That looks sick. Look beyond the illusion. Thanks for joining us over there on YouTube. Thank you. Yeah, it looks, it turned out pretty nice. We're actually getting ready to move on to build number 2. Oh, we're at 11:25. Shit. We're getting pretty late. What is that one? We can do it. We can do another build. You guys with me for another build? I gotta do Quinn's build. I told you guys I was behind because I didn't get to stream yesterday. I just got super exhausted after a day of support. Flacco, yes! Alright, let's go ahead and do it then. I'm gonna shut this bad boy down and we're gonna throw some parts over here on the bench. I know I've already got the CPU socketed on this one. And that is because this box came smashed. Like, very bad. And there were a couple of bent pins originally. And I bent them back, plugged it in, posted the board to verify it worked. Everything worked fine. So don't worry. No, I'm just kidding. I had to borrow this for a setup. For a testing setup. It did not get smashed. I just wanted to see his reaction if Quinn's in here. I don't know if Quinn's watching. Flacco, is that you? Or no? Or no. No, you're, I know who you are. Through the motherboard company for emotional damage, yes. I'll just use the XMP RAM temporarily until I can replace it with Expo stuff. As long as it's, like I said, as long as it's on that support list, you should be fine. So if it's listed there, supported for your motherboard, then you are fine. You do not need to go buy AMD Expo RAM as long as it's on that supported list. And it's running at the full speed once you get it. But I would recommend updating that BIOS being almost one of the first things you do. You are East Coast time. I am up in the West Coast time here. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's East Coast for me, so we're at 11:28 p.m. Eastern time. No, I had to borrow this board to test a couple of things. So I apologize. I opened your board and used it temporarily. And it's because it was the stock that I had. So, for the prices that we got. So we got this board almost $30 off because it was inventory that I got. And I got it when it was on sale. Or we had a sale. They had a sale. So, we got a good deal on the board. And that's why we have a good deal. And we're able to throw this together for the price we did. Alright, let's run down the list. But I don't have the box anymore, which is why it's out. Alright, so we have an AMD Ryzen 7 5700X, which has got 8 cores, 16 threads, and a maximum boost of 4.6 gigahertz. So that's right, we're working with the AM4 platform here. The motherboard is going to be the B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi Pro Series. So it's got built-in Wi-Fi. But yeah, it's an AM4 socket. We're going to be running DDR4 RAM on here. The cooler we're going to be running is the Thermalright Assassin X120 SE. It's a tower air cooler with 6 heat pipes and 2 120 millimeter PWM addressable RGB fans. Originally, we were going to do the Assassin X120. Sorry, I switched it on him and moved it up to the Thermalright Peerless Assassin because originally we were trying to save a few dollars, and I think it was like $13, $14 more to get the Peerless Assassin. And I'm like, I just have to do that. So we upgraded the cooler for you for free, Quinn, just for awareness. And then we're going to do 16 gigs of DDR4 3200 megahertz by Silicon Power, a 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe PCIe 4.0 Gen 4 SSD. Again, that was supposed to be Silicon Power, but we got this Lares drive, which is actually a really good Gen 4 drive. It's got really good fast read-write speeds on it. For the price, really couldn't be beat. I also have a power supply back here. Sorry. We're going to be running the RTX 4060 8GB GDDR6 128-bit PCI 4.0 card. So it's really important with these RTX 4060 cards because of their bus size. That you want to run it on PCI 4.0. Ideally, you don't want to run it on PCI 3.0. You will lose a little bit of performance there. So ideally, if you're running a 4000 series card, you should be already on PCI 4.0. We've got a Montech Air 100 case. So it's a micro ATX case, and it's the Air 100. You've seen me build with those before, but we're kind of smashing this all together in a pretty decent sized case, but it's micro ATX, so it's not super huge. And then that has 4 addressable RGB fans in it. And then we have a 650 watt 80 plus bronze certified, but I think I also upgraded that to a 650 watt 80 plus gold because they were the same price. And then we're just running standard black cables from the PSU. Nothing special there, and we're going to be installing Windows 11. This includes a 2-year warranty on this build. And we did use a discount code for Michael, Mr. Flake, which I do have to contact him because I don't think I have his payout info on this build. I need to do that right now. Hold on, before I forget. I will forget. Never mind, I actually forgot I already did it. We're all done with that. Yeah, when there's a partner code used, we do have a payout percentage for them. And I just wanted to make sure I did remember to pay out. Because I will stupidly not intentionally forget, but get busy and miss things like that. Because it's abnormal. I don't get a ton of partner builds. I do, but I mean, it's out of the normal routine. So I just wanted to make sure. Probably won't use the T-Force RGB RAM again because its RGB is a pain in the ass to change, rarely detected by the motherboard. Oh, what do you mean? Team Force Delta has always worked for me. What motherboard do you have your RAM plugged into? The shipping rate was high, 500, because they were in Alaska. We were in Alaska. Ah, gotcha. It probably wouldn't be as much in the 48 states, yeah. Do you ship to Alaska? I can ship to Alaska, but I have quoted PCs to Alaska in the past, and I will tell you, it is extremely expensive. So it's probably going to be in that $500 ballpark. So if you can almost you could probably fly here, pick it up, and put it on the plane and bring it back with you for cheaper than probably shipping it there. In some cases, depending on, you know, if you get like a red-eye flight. I don't know what cost it is to fly to Alaska. What are you doing out in Alaska? Are you mining for gold out there? I just got done playing The Last of Us Part 1 at 1440p. High settings with DLAA. No upscaling with the RTX 4060. Nice. PCI 4.0 at the minimum, maybe 5.0. Yeah. At least it's rarely detected by the ASRock Z69. So that's probably what it is. Yeah, that's probably the ASRock or ASRock RGB software. They have the RGB Fusion, I think it is. Or no, that's Gigabyte. They have the ASRGB LED software. Unless they change that again. The Polychrome, yes. Which used to be the ASRG whatever. Oh well, that's an idea. No, I've actually William on it. Seriously, no. You're not mining for gold. Well, seriously, William, I have a customer out in Alaska who flew in here in town in Michigan because he, you know, had family here in Michigan, but he had me build the PC, and then while he was in town visiting family, he grabbed the PC and flew it back, and that's how we saved money on the shipping. And we know it didn't get, you know, just, you know, punted out of the plane on the way down. It's known to be dog shit. It's not known to be dog shit, it's just known to have compatibility issues with some other components, because technically that is the software that should be running the T-Force RAM. But there are different softwares out there that you could try to run, third-party softwares that, you know, outside of the motherboard software. I can't remember the names of it. There's a lot of different softwares out there you could. It's racist towards brands it doesn't want to work. No, I've actually used ASRock with many different with T-Force RAM, T-Force Delta RAM, a lot. Never had any problems with it. So this would be a weird bug, but I would definitely make sure your BIOS is updated. Number one, update the BIOS. Number two, make sure you reinstall the ASRock Polychrome software. Uninstall it, reinstall it. At least the RGB software is, yeah, maybe. All right, guys, let's get started on this build. It's getting late for me. I'm starting to feel it. So if I start putting coolers in upside down, let me know. Tell me to stop. All right, so we've already got the CPU installed. That's one thing off the list, the checklist here. What do you know? We'll just hover the board up like this. Oh yeah. Get a nice zoom on that. We're gonna have to restart this camera, I think. It's starting to act up. Back camera. Ow. So this is how you open the package. You just cut the top right off and then you open it up. Just stick to changing the RGB in the BIOS. Yeah, that's a pain in the ass. Sigh. You guys remember that Mercedes commercial? Where the girl walks around and like touches things? Should I do an PC version of that? Would anybody enjoy that or find it humorous? I don't think this is going to work that way. I think we're just not going to use the cooler. It's got one built into it. It's better for this one. Should the pre-installed AIO paste be changed after a year? Just keep an eye on the temps. So if you start seeing them increase after a year, then it's probably time to do it, yeah. But not necessarily a requirement to do it, just keep an eye on the temps. DLAA, Deep Learning Anti-Aliasing. Yes. That's what she said. Deep Learning Anti-Aliasing. HW Monitor says the CPU is going to between 39 and 50 Celsius idle. That's a little warm. That's running a little warm. Not terrible. Just Discord and Brave open. Watching Twitch. Not terrible, but the 50 is a little high on idle. Steve says his 12900 KS is in the 20s as far as heat goes anyway. And William, we came up here in 1988 on our honeymoon and fell in love with the state. 3 weeks later, we sold everything. Wow. That did not pertain living in Alaska. Excellent hunting, fishing, reliable winters. No kidding. Helped lure us here. We plan to stay, seeing our son and grandkids are just up the road from us. Oh, nice. Well, I mean, that would make a big difference as well. It's pretty warm in ASUS, though. Or it's pretty warm today in ASUS, though. Yeah. Or Australia. Sorry. ASUS. Oh, you know you're getting tired. When? Can't even read. The Aussies are getting... Aussies. The Aussies... Yes, no, yep. Got it. Must be nice to be warm. Here in Michigan, in the U.S., it's cold as balls. It's not like negative degree temperature, but it's... We just had a 70-degree day like 2 days ago, and then today it was it's like 30. But most of our winters are usually in the single digit, or sometimes in some cases with the wind chill, it's negative 20 with wind chill. So it gets cold. We're almost out of the winter here. And with the rapidly changes in the temperature for us, we get random things like tornadoes and hail in the middle of in a winter month, which is weird. But it's not that weird here in Michigan. Alright, so we gotta remove these brackets here from AMD or from the MSI motherboard. These are stock brackets that we're removing. These come with your motherboard. Always keep them if you remove them from your board, because there might be one day where you go and upgrade the cooler and find out that you need those brackets for a cooler. So, always keep them. Well, that's pretty cool that, you know, I definitely wouldn't have the balls to sell everything and just move out to another state, especially one as far away as Alaska. For us, that's pretty far. And it would be a very big change, I'm sure. So you know, I understand Alaska and kind of its... Most places in Alaska, at least, are pretty remote. Right? At least that's what I envision. Don't know why, but like if you want to buy something from the States, you gotta wait to get it there. I don't know if I could give that all up. Getting something almost same day from Amazon. I would have to really like it there. It's 88 Fahrenheit. Nice. I'm thinking 1200 or 12100F and an RX 6600 and a B760 motherboard, 16 gigs of RAM for a low-powered Linux desktop computer. I mean, that'll do it. That 12100F is actually pretty banging. It's got some power to it for the little power draw it has. What is that, like 30 something or 40 watts or 60 watts or something like that total? Max? Somewhere in between there. Can't remember exactly which one it is, but I know it's super low power. If you want to save even more power, cut the graphics card and get the 12100 without the F and have the onboard graphics. 55, so it was, yeah, 50. I was thinking like 60 watts. Here's your Thermalright Peerless Assassin. Where'd my long screwdriver go? Well, I don't have my nice lengthy screwdriver, so I'm going to cut myself 15 times. We have never had the luxury of getting something shipped so fast. Yeah, I know, I'm spoiled rotten here. So the week or two of waiting is the norm for us. Wow, yeah. The fast shipping sure does sound nice. It is. I am not going to lie about that. Especially in the day and age where, you know, Amazon just spoils the crap out of us and gets you things sometimes same day shipping. Is just insane. So everything is just real time, real fast. No waiting around. Steve says he wants to do that Linux rig and do some Linux gaming. There's a place called GOG. Yes, good old games, where you can get DRM free games and play on Linux. Nice. I'm familiar with good old games. GOG.com. For anybody that was curious. Basically, if there's an old game that you want to play and you can't find it anymore, go there. Hello. Just saw the Lord just for a moment. Do a little bit of cable management on that, just so it's clean going out to the back of the case there. Running those cables to the back of the case, nice and clean. But we are ready to get this into the case. We've got our CPU, our RAM, our SSD, and our cooler all installed, so we're ready to pull the case out and slap this in there. Nice. You know, I never updated the name on this. Shoot. Ah, crap. Why do I do this to myself? Alright, sorry, Quinn. If you're watching, or you're watching later, I apologize, I never updated the name. I'm only human, after all. That was weird. Alright. Get our AI shield. Does DRM free mean I could put the game on a disc and play on a PS4? I do not know if that's what it means. You can always give it a try. But I'm sure PlayStation has something to keep you from doing stuff like that. Especially on like a PS4. Ah, I need my studs. I need more studs. Is there any studs in here? Oh my goodness, look at all those studs. Wave to them. Talking about these studs, guys. Come on. This little guy right here. were you thinking I was saying? Maybe a PS2 yeah, maybe. PS2 or PS1, they probably didn't have as much, like, protection. PS2 is probably right when they were starting to realize people were making copies. Putting two and two together. Bootlegs became more and more popular around PS2. You know, this PC looks like a beast with this massive cooler in here. Next time I build a personal rig, I'm definitely going to use the thermal, the Peerless Assassin, Thermalright, Peerless Assassin by Thermalright. I really like this cooler. One little hole up here, which is a itchy bitchy problem to get to right now. Definitely a pain in the butt to get to that one. But while we're here, why didn't we clip these, you stupid? Come on. There we go. Starting to look like a badass PC already. Yeah. I know. I build badass PCs. Somebody stop me. It's more like one of those Jim Carrey moments. Somebody stop me. No, that doesn't sound right. Totally wrong. I'm not a good Jim Carrey impersonator. Alright. Next up, front panel stuff. Go. Should probably identify where everything is. Rainbow. PWM fan. Audio. JFP1. USB-C 3. Okay, we know where everything is at. It's been a while in this board, with this board in this case. Haven't done a ton here. Mm-hmm. Almost there. We're getting closer, guys. I promise. All those front panel connectors down there. Hey Quinn, what's going on? Your first PC? Yeah. We started late, but we're building still today. Technically, it's Friday here. Not Thursday anymore. But I did start the build on Thursday. So here we are. Welcome to the stream, though. What do you think so far? Looking good? All right. Now that we've got all of those done, we could probably slap a power supply in here, or a graphics card. Looks awesome. Yes, she's pretty. Yeah, Quinn, this is going to be your first PC. Well, welcome to the PC world, sir. Just getting that tidied up real quick, and we'll drop a graphics card in here real quick. Then the power supply, and we'll actually be firing this thing up. These builds are usually pretty quick. They're not as intense, but they are still just... Mostly it's, there's a lot of reduced time in the build because I am doing an air cooler, not a AIO. So there's a significant less amount of cables from different fans in the system. That is one of the major differences in the build. And then I don't have to mount a cooler separately. I can mount the cooler outside of the case before we put it in the case. Saves a ton of time. So long story short, these types of builds save me time. So here's our graphics card. It's the Gigabyte RTX 4060, which is an 8 gigabyte graphics card. It's the Eagle OC 8 gig from Gigabyte, which is an OC edition with the Wind Force on the fans. Go ahead and open this up. Not sure why that was like that. Open this bad boy up. It's the 3-fan card, so it just a lot bigger cooler than your 2 fans. The actual card ends about here, and then this is an extension of cooling power on the card. So the card ends right about here, and anything after it out here is all cooler. So it really helps the temps of the card, even though there's a lot of extra airflow in this case. Just means your card is never going to be super hot. It's going to run nice and chill the whole time. The unboxing neat. Didn't know the packet they packaged them so well. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Since we are shipping this, right? We are shipping this, so most likely this card will become internally packaged in here, uninstalled. So when you receive this, you will have to install this graphics card. And the only reason why we do that is because if you watch what I do here, you see how the card bounces around like that? It doesn't matter how well we try to package this, this card is going to bounce like this while it's in shipment, and it can damage the card and it can damage the motherboard. So 9 times out of 10, you'll get a damaged card if we ship it installed. It's just, there's just been a lot of damage. So we ship these uninstalled. So you will have to keep note how I just installed that, which is the pins, line it up with the slot on the board, push it straight down, and you'll have instructions. You can also give me a call when you receive it if you have any questions going through to install it. But you line up the gold pins with the slot on the motherboard, and it goes straight down into the slot. You also, on this back side, on the back of the computer, you have this little thumb screw here. You undo that, that lifts up, you see? And the lip of the card actually goes right here, and there's 2 screws here. which you can see right here and here. So those two screws you have to undo or mount, or once you have the card seated, put the two screws in there and you'll be able to secure the card. Then the last thing after you have the card secured is going to be a power cord that I will have here that plugs into the graphics card right here. And that's it. There's nothing crazy about it. It's just slide the card into the slot, two screws to secure it, and then your power cord, and you're done. It sounds more complicated than what it is. And if you have any questions while you do it, just let me know. I can walk you through it. But the main key is to just loosen this thumb screw here so you can slide this up and down, and slide it up so you can slot the graphics card in, which has to go underneath it. So that's like the main hint of the case. And then you got your two screws there, which the two screws actually might be here when you first get it, so you might have to undo the screws to put the card in as well. Just keep that in mind. But that's it. Outside of the power cord that goes right there, which I will have laying here, and I will show you once I get the power supply installed, how to plug that in. Talking about power supplies, here it is. Here's our 650 watt. By the way, Quinn, we upgraded your cooler. You weren't here originally when we started the build, but this cooler is a Thermalright Peerless Assassin. We originally quoted you and invoiced you for a Assassin X120, which is actually a much smaller version of the cooler. But it was about $14 difference, and I really wanted you to have this cooler on that CPU, so we just went ahead and upgraded it for you. Additionally, what else was there? There was something else. Oh yeah, additionally to that, I'm holding it right here in my head, in my hands. The power supply was an 80 plus bronze power supply, and we were able to get the 80 plus gold. Wow, that's loud. I promise, guys, that was the box if you heard that. But it was the 80 plus gold power supply that we got here. So the gold rating is just more efficient than the bronze rating, which helps with your electric bill, ultimately, is what it does. So if the bronze is you know, it's the same amount of power for the PC, and there's no like benefit outside of it's more efficient, and it will reduce the cost of your electricity if you run your PC 24/7 by having an 80 plus gold versus a 80 plus bronze. It sounded like Chewbacca waking up. No, you don't pay us more. It's just, it's our gift to you. We got the power supply for the same price because there was a sale. And the cooler, I just did that because I couldn't do it the other way. It would have been fine, but I know things will run better with this, so ultimately. So I couldn't let it go like the other way, even though I approved it. It's just the PC builder in me. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. So there was nothing wrong with what we had before. It's just this is a better cooler for $14 more. So I couldn't not do it. It's like $14 or $15, something like that. But it's all good. I just wanted to make you aware that these two components changed. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, this is a 650 watt. So this is more than enough wattage for the PC itself. In fact, you could do a little bit of upgrades on here with this power supply in here. And have some wiggle room. But the 80 plus gold is the efficiency rating. So when it's drawing power from the wall, it's more efficient about how it's drawing the power from the wall, which reduces your electric bill. That's where it's a benefit. Your electric bill sees the benefit. I try to do gold where I can, but they are stupid expensive. But this was a sale, and I was able to get it at the same price as the bronze, so it's like, you know, it's stupid not to do it where I can. So since this is your first PC, Quinn, I will go over a couple of things before we fire it up, just so you can, you know, learn how to manage it and take care of it. We'll run through that here on the stream if you have time to hang out. Just cover some basic stuff, like how to clean it, maintain it, how to set it up in terms of connections and things from your monitors, etc. Just so you have it, and it's on the video, so you can always come back to YouTube and watch it. You can even clip it if you want. Micah. Good to have room to grow, yes. It is good to have room to grow. Alright, so now that we've fed these cables, here's your power supply cable for the graphics card. It's just going to be the cable coming from the bottom of the PC here, and I'll probably have it laying flat out like that in the packaging. But really, there's a clip. The clip goes to the top, and that's really it. So the clip faces up, slots in, pushes in, and you're done. That's your power cord for the graphics card that you will have to install, plug in. Not a whole lot to it. The rest of these power cables, they'll all be plugged in, so don't worry about what I'm doing right now. Unless for some reason they get loose during shipping, which has happened before, but it's rare. There we go. Now all we got to do is some basic cable management back here, and we can get this bad boy fired up for you. William, does the power supply rating do something like this? Wood, stone, copper, bronze, silver, gold, platinum? It does actually stop. It starts at white. It starts at no rating or 80 plus, and then it goes to 80 plus white. Bronze. There really is no silver anymore. There actually used to be a silver, but it goes to gold, platinum, titanium, and I think there's even one more level of efficiency rating. And then there's also, instead of 80 plus, there's 93 plus, 93% plus, which is another rating as well. But that's where it starts. You know, you're spending a lot of extra money, and you're probably not going to make up the cost of running the machine for its life with your electric bill. So you do have to weigh that out. So it really comes down to the cost of electricity, if it's worth it or not, from your savings. Not a bad looking PC. Cable management's looking good. Looking crisp. Whoops. What do you think of that? That cable management. Is that satisfying or no? And Quinn, I hope you're here. We're going to go through a couple of things. All right, so rule number 1. Your glass side panel is going to be a door, or lesson 1 of your PC. The glass side panel is a door. It is only held onto the case with magnetics, or with a magnet, and 2 hinges. If you lift up on the door, you lift this door up away from the case, like so, it's going to become unhinged and it will come off the case. So be careful with this, because there's nothing securing it when it's hinged outside of gravity itself, and then the magnet. So that's number 1 to be, keep that in mind when you're moving or maneuvering the PC. Next, the front of the PC. This is the front. The bottom, or this whole front panel, this is technically where the majority of your dust is going to accumulate, is on the front of the PC here, because this is your intake. And it's really simple. All you do is you grab the side of the front mesh and pull it away from the PC and lift up on the bottom, and you can actually remove this. There's no screws or anything holding this on. It's, again, magnetic, but you can then take this mesh panel outside and blow it out without having to remove the entire PC. So that's how you would keep this front mesh clean. The next piece is the bottom. This is the bottom where the feet are of the PC. If you are going to place this PC on carpet, I would highly recommend, in fact, I tell you, I don't even recommend, I tell you, put a piece of wood down on the carpet, then put the PC on top of it. Or if you don't have a piece of wood, use something else that's hard, that's going to keep the computer from sinking into the carpet. If it's sinking into the carpet, most likely what's happening is it's suffocating the power supply vent here, and this needs to breathe. If you don't let that breathe, your power supply is going to burn out rather quickly. So make sure you do that. Piece of wood down, allow it to breathe. Okay? Next up is the filter that's under here. This is removable. This will have dust and it will accumulate there, and you can clean it. Okay? Next up, on the back, you're going to be hooking up your computer for the first time, and you're going to be super excited, and you're going to see these 2 ports up here at the top. A display port, remember, dust bunnies, exactly. You're going to see these 2 ports at the top of your PC up here by the USB ports, and you're going to be extremely tempted to put your monitors, plug your monitors into these 2 ports. Stay away from these 2 ports. Pretend they don't exist. Use these ports down here on the graphics card. You've got display ports and HDMI ports. You won't have display if you plug in up here at the top. You have to plug into the monitor, or you'll get a black screen up here. So just make sure when you plug your monitor in, plug it into the graphics card down here. You've got, again, looks like actually 2 HDMI and 2 display ports. So there's plenty of options there for you. Remember, dust bunnies live on the floor. They can be a huge problem. They can be, yes, 100%. But that is primarily how you have to plug in your computer. The other thing is you have Wi-Fi antennas if you're planning to use your Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, make sure you screw in your antennas, which go here and here. If you do not, you're going to have very, very poor Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signal without the antennas. And again, just a quick reminder for anybody that's coming from a console to PC, if you have a AUX headset, you have to split the connection between your microphone and the sound. And the green is representing the sound, and the pink is representing the microphone. So you have to have a splitter that splits the AUX connection for one for microphone, one for sound. PC doesn't automatically split that for you. And those are about, I think, $5 or $6 on Amazon if you don't have a splitter. I would tell you, if you need one, if you have a single AUX connection for your headset, which is connected to your controller, which most of them do, you're going to need that splitter if you're planning to use that same headset. So, with that being said, that's pretty much it. Everything else, pretty much self-explanatory. If there's dust in here, blow it out on the fans. If you're blowing directly on the fans, try to keep the fan from spinning. Hold the fan. Okay, so now that that's done, we can fire this bad boy up and see what it looks like for the first time. Well, that's how you properly plug it in, set it up, and keep it from killing itself by putting it on carpet. All right, Mr. Quinn, are you here? Are you ready to see it for the first time? Let's go, Quinn. Come on, come on, come on. Are you here? You ready to see it? Did you fall asleep on me, Quinn? I think he fell asleep on us. We are going pretty late. It's 12:30 Eastern time over here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and push the power button, Quinn. I'm going to pretend you told me to do it. Crap. Nice. Hey, Fatboy Fire Team, thanks for the follow, sir. Welcome to the build streams, where we do fun stuff like build things like that. When spinning fans with forced air, do the fans act like a generator? Yes. Yes, that is a fact. They will feed power back to the system. Yes, that can cause damage. Yes. Also, additionally, if you're using, for example, an air compressor, air compressors create moisture. Moisture, bad for computer parts, especially if you're spinning the fans and sending energy back to the board. So, not a good combination. Next is your bearings. If you spin the fan bearing past its rated speed, you can damage the bearing. So you don't want to do that. So generally, it's a good rule to just hold the fan, keep it from spinning while you're blowing air at it to clean it out. Good idea to do that. And if you are buying canned air to blow it out or clean it out, I would recommend on Amazon it's about a $40 blower. It's like a miniature leaf blower, and that will cover the cost of canned air for probably a year, and you'll have it longer, and then you won't ever have to deal with buying canned air again. If you're one of those people that buy canned air. I assume you're probably using more than likely an air compressor of some sort where you are. Or maybe you're using canned air, I don't know. But air compressors, generally, I tell people try not to use on PCs, and if you do have to use an air compressor to blow it out and clean it out, no big deal. Just make sure you let the PC dry out in case there was any moisture spitting out of that air compressor. Because the air compressor, or if you have some sort of moisture trap on the line, that would be beneficial as well. But there we go, Quinn. There's the PC. But, alright guys, that's all the builds I've got for tonight. I am going to have more builds probably tomorrow. I've got at least one, maybe two, that I'll be doing tomorrow, and then we'll should be having one on Saturday as well. And then probably one on Monday. It's currently kind of what it looks like. I was using an air compressor, but I bought one of those rechargeable blowers on Amazon. Nice. And had to wait a few weeks for it to arrive. Yes. Man, I don't think I could do that. You have a lot of patience. Yeah, Amazon has spoiled us over here because there are, quite a few things we can get same-day delivery or next-day delivery. And that has spoiled us. That's all I can say. Not having to wait, what used to be a week to get something, it's amazing. But the way they do it, if you research how Amazon does it, it's because the inventory is pretty much here in the state, and they have different facilities throughout the state. So that's why they can, and then they just determine on what's selling in what area, and they inventory that there. So that's how they could do that. They'll eventually probably have something out there in Alaska, I'm sure, at some point. Yeah, I just assume pretty much anybody that's out in Alaska, they're mining for gold. I don't know why. Maybe because of that Gold Miner series, but I think that's more in Canada, not in Alaska. Although Alaska does have the Bering Sea, right? I'm back. Is that it? This is it. We're here. It's done. I even gave you a tutorial and you weren't here. So you'll have to rewatch the video when you get the PC. I gave you a quick rundown on how to take care of it before we fired it up. But this is it, sir. Now that I am jealous about fast shipping and in need of relief, constraining from the fast shipping, we could see 2 of the 3 tallest mountains in North America. Ah, yeah, pulling that card out on me, huh? I go up north for that. Michigan has that. Not, mountains, but there's a lot of good wilderness here in the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So if I need my wilderness time, I'll just drive up there And that's within driving distance. A lot of cool campgrounds up there too. Right out from the cabin window that sits on the lakefront property. Oh man. Now that's probably pretty cool. Maybe you could come visit us and bring a computer with you. Just joking around. We really have no place for someone to stay in. No worries. I don't think I'll have time to fly anywhere near Alaska anytime soon. Unless it was business related. Which, I mean, if it was a PC... It's beautiful. Thanks. Yeah, no problem, Quinn. No problem, man. You like the Porcupine Mountains? We often visited that area before moving here. Nice. Nice. Gotta go to sleep. Good night. Yes, no problem, Quinn. Have a good night. I'm sorry we streamed so late to get your build done today. I apologize. We were supposed to start earlier. We kind of fell behind. Have a good night, sir. We'll have shipping details here in the next couple days. Probably Monday is when it's shipping out for awareness. But yeah, no, I know it's beautiful out there. One day I will visit Alaska. That is on my bucket list. One of the things that I do want to do is visit Alaska. I want to see Alaska in the winter, and I want to see Alaska in the summer. Have a good night, Quinn. And everybody else, I am done for the night. I will see you tomorrow on the next stream. We should be having probably another evening stream, Eastern Time. Probably around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time is when we'll get started on the build. We'll do a single build stream. Maybe two. We'll see. And then Saturday we'll also be live again. And then Monday as well. So again, thank you everybody for hanging out. Y'all have a good rest of your Thursday evening. And we'll see you tomorrow on Friday. It's time to get jazzy. Have a good night.